Anytime I can intro with Dance and Warzag is an absolute dub in my book. This replay from Cool Umbrella, he's going all in with the Greenskins Monster Mash, given this is the worst map on Ladder, one of the Steps of Isha maps. He's got Monster Mash here, his opponent does as well, so we're going to get a nice head-to-head fight with two Arachnaroks versus two Giants, plus a Stonehorn with a Harpoon launcher. Scrag the Slaughter leading the way for the Ogre Kingdoms, then we got plenty of Noblars. Some Ogre Bulls to back them up. Yeah, what is that? 5 Noblars, 5 Trappers, and the Bull. And some Scrap Launchers. So a heavy Noblar Horde with some Monster support. Yeah. Full Umbrella's force here is a little bit more balanced. Warzag on foot, as you can see there. It's relatively safe from getting Lord sniped in this matchup, especially in a map like this where you can kind of fight up on this choke, maybe hide in the woods from potential missile attacks. We've got Squigs already charging in, Goblin second line here, Swamp Things, Orc Biggins, then of course 2 Spiders. One of them is the Regiment of Renown Queen, which can of course summon Spiderlings, which will definitely help Greenskins kind of pad out their numbers here and give a little poison mobility as well that can pressure missile units potentially. If there were any lead belchers or like, Iron Blaster, Scrap Launchers will be decent here against the light infantry of the Greenskins, but even the Biggins hiding in the woods here will be afforded some protection by the trees, but let's get in close. Watch as the Spiders get in here. Of course, Spiders versus Giants, there's a few things to consider in this direct matchup. The Spiders have significantly less weapon strength at only 380 total weapon strength with anti-large bonus, right? 14 bonus versus large. Really not much. More applies to the melee attack than anything else, but they do have 84 melee attack. Bull Gorger on this Giant's going to boost it up to 720 weapon strength, but of course the poison normally would equalize the weapon strength between these two monsters a bit. Greenskins also get Here We Go. They're also going to get a stream of attack buffs just in general from Warzag as he uses that Bonewood Staff. They get attack buffs from Wah, so in general, they're going to be consistently hitting. Some of those buffs involve weapon strength as well, as you see with Wah boosting them up to 475. So, although on the surface of it might seem like their stats are lower, with those different effects happening in a live battle, you can see that the stats are more or less equal. I mean, they do have less HP overall, but that much faster speed means that they can dictate the pace of the engagement, and critically, they have very heavy armor at 120. They will shrug off almost all non-armor piercing shooting. Like these Noblar Trappers, for example, they're inaccurate and they don't do much AP at all. They're really not going to be damaging the Arachnaroks in a meaningful way here. I guess probably more just doing damage to the Biggins at this point that are trying to support, but let's get in close here. Get the UI out of the way so we can soak in some beautiful shots of the Greenskins. Biggins all choked up around the Giant here. The Stonehorn also has been supporting other areas of the battle, trying to tear out various units, but now being counteracted by the Swamp Things, who again cause terror and have poisons. They can kind of slow down and trap this Stonehorn without getting terror routed. They'll be able to regenerate through a lot of its damage, so really nice play by Cool Umbrella so far. That said, the Scrap Launchers are definitely making their presence felt, and obviously Greenskins' leadership famously terrible, as is Ogres to a degree. But the Goblins, Spiderlings, and others really having a hard time holding their leadership together. But getting back to the Kaiju battle over here, the Giants also can get knocked down. This is something that we won't see on the stat card, which is just animation stuff in general, right? Because the Giants are two-legged monsters, they have an animation where they can get knocked down to the ground, and as you can see, it's painfully slow for them to stand back up. So the mass difference here, if we go ahead and take a look, I'm actually curious. See the Giant's mass here, okay, 6,500, and then the Arachnarok is 4,100. So you might think that due to the Giant having higher mass, it wouldn't get staggered or knocked over, but that's not really how it works with single entities. More based on the animations than anything else. We're going to see a little bit of Fists of Gork here. Up to 62 melee defense, 106 melee attack on that Arachnarok Queen, of course. Regiment of Renown status definitely helps the leadership and the melee stats of the Arachnarok Queen here. Now with Wah being popped up to 118 there, and 475 weapon strength. Arachnaroks do have fairly poor leadership. That's one other important difference. Giants have very good leadership. Even though they're slow, they're vulnerable to a multitude of things. They are very tanky and have high leadership, so they're definitely going to stick around for a while, as long as they don't get bursted by mass missiles. Here, you can see also critically for the Ogre Kingdoms, along now with the Warriors of Chaos, they can heal their Giants, and very much so due to that high heal cap in terms of raw numbers. Very efficient to do. So, unfortunately, the one Giant here that wasn't healed is probably going to get taken down, and due to the slow speed, it has zero chance of getting away from the spiders. Basically, for the rest of the army, Cool Umbrella has been trading evenly, if not slightly winning on some fronts now. The Goblins finally getting their leadership together. The Squig Herds really proving tactically decisive in seeing off a lot of Noblars here, even if in terms of the raw value, the numbers are not that high. Clearing out Noblar chaff is super important versus the Ogre Kingdoms. We also see the Swamp Things here, just bullying units across the field. Been harassing those scrap launchers a little bit as well, it looks like, at points. Spiderling summons, of course, the hatchlings getting in here, chasing units, applying poison, disrupting, distracting, wasting ammo. All the good stuff. The one Giant does get taken down. And now it's up to the last Giant, Scrag, holding out together. Scrag, of course, decent combatant, has armor-piercing damage, but certainly is not going to stand up to something like a Ragnarok Queen, let alone two of them. Warzag could also get in there. I mean, he's no pushover in terms of being a combatant, but he's squishy enough that probably wants to avoid it at all costs if he can. But like I said, I mean, Ogre Kingdoms really don't have great Lord sniping tools. I mean, aside from, like, monstrous lords who are vulnerable to Ogres shooting, infantry lords tend not to be as much. I mean, I guess if, you know, Ogres really focus fire with their shooting, they could probably shoot him to death, but at the same time, due to him being a small target, and Ogres, like, they have fast attack units, don't get me wrong, but especially on a map like this where you can limit them to a fair degree, not almost entirely, quite effective, and I really like this build from Cool Umbrella. Double Big Spider here, neither of which actually ends up totally paying for themselves in terms of raw damage output, but tanking out the Giants quite well. Of course, the Spiderling summons also, and then just providing that kind of anchor point to tank with, while the rest of these units then help support. Of course, the Biggins are a critical support unit. Didn't really highlight them a lot during the cast, but of course, their anti-large high damage is going to be very nice at supporting against the Giants and just, yeah, getting consistent hits, especially in a surround when the Giants' attacks are hitting the Arachnaroks instead of the Biggins, obviously. Very helpful, like I said, with the Squigs, helping to clear out Noblars, super important. Regular Goblins also trading okay, all things considered. And then, yeah, the Swamp Things also get some really nice value back. Giants, both, I mean, they performed more or less, yeah, maybe slightly below the two spiders if you kind of combine their value together. The Stonehorn, though, does kind of equalize that out, but then again, none of the three of these monsters paid for themselves. One of the Giants gets pretty close, but you definitely would want to see more damage output from those monsters in terms of the value you're bringing for them. The Bulls also kind of get crumbed here, is to be expected. I mean, maybe would have been better off, honestly, to just go with the Saber-Tusk back, because they're pretty good against Squig Herds. I mean, these guys, they are good against Squig Herds as well, but the way they were used here, I think they ended up just taking a lot of damage from the Biggins, which, again, kind of to be expected. Noblars, hard to go wrong with a ton of Noblars, but the Trappers, I mean, they're decent. They got some pretty decent value. It's hard to really argue one way or the other. I think just really the heroic units, the monstrous units having a hard time. Also, Scrag is just less cost efficient, unless you're taking Gorgers for whatever reason, which, against Greenskins, I don't know. I don't know that it's a great idea, to be honest. Gorgers seem quite vulnerable to Biggins, but, yeah, if we kind of think about it, Scrag base cost is going to be, I think, is it the same? So let's see, 900 base cost. If we come in here and take a look at the Slaughtermaster, then we get 800 base cost. So you do save a little bit, and likewise, I think that the Slaughtermaster's abilities and items are just that much a little bit better. He's got this Blood Cleaver, which gives himself heal and melee passively. And of course, the Greedy Fist, if you have the extra funds to take it, it's kind of hilarious to troll your opponent with, to put their abilities on cooldown a little bit. Not super useful, but it is fun. And And of course, or magic is the same. So then you look here, and really all Scrag has going for him is this Cauldron of the Great Maw, which buffs Gorgers specifically. So, I mean, Gorgers are better now than they were before. They're okay, but some matchups where you might want to use them, like Skaven maybe. But just in general, I think that the Slaughtermaster is going to be a better pick in almost every single situation, which is a bit sad. Hopefully, Ogres get some good Legendary Lords in the future, because right now, both of their Legendary Lords are kind of bad. Or in the case of Greasus, absolutely awful. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.